Hey, Tanya. Good morning. Oh, hey. Hold on. Uh, Roseanne. Hi. Good morning, everybody. Um, we'll get started here on our Course in Miracles daily reading thing. We read from the book Holy Shift by Robert Holden. It's very peaceful here today. We'll probably have a little more peaceful time before the roofers come. Hi, I'm glad you came back. We did an experimental level 1 Reiki attunement last night. Hi, Linda. And that's up for replay for the rest of today. It's still there. It'd be interesting to see if it still works on the replay. I believe it will. I really wasn't sure it was going to work. Good morning. Greg, right? Oh, you haven't seen it yet. It went well. It was a little chaotic because we had the babies. It was good. It's about an hour, but that includes chit-chatting and talking about babies and stuff. Okay. And people did feel the Reiki energy running, and so I would encourage everyone who did or does to, do the education and look into the history and things like that if it's important to you. I didn't think it would work as well as it did, and it did. So, always happy to share Reiki stuff. And then the Desire Map workshop that uses Young Living essential oils the tickets are extended until October 14th, so tomorrow at midnight. This is the link for that. It's 5 weeks of coaching using intuitive spirituality, really. But the framework is Desire Map, and we do use essential oils to help open and expand spiritually as well. And for those of you who don't know, I'm Michelle Wolf. I'm a coach for healers and helpers, and my background is being a therapist that specializes in trauma and child protective work and teenager work. My website is, I'm looking for the business card and I'm not seeing it. It's cattyshackdesigns.com, CATTY, shackdesigns.com, and across the top are the tabs for coaching and Reiki, oils, and my artwork, because I'm a portrait artist too. And then on Mondays, I do a essential oil scope in the afternoons, and today we'll be talking about Copa Iba later today. Oh, thank you, Linda. Thank you, Tanya. You guys are so helpful. Thank you. Hi, Michelle. So daily we talk from the Holy Shift by Robert Holden. It's sections from Course in Miracles, and then we read from the text because the book is not very comprehensive. And next year we'll probably do it a little different because it kind of hops all over the place. Okay, so Desire Map Workshop. The little $2 ebook is up and going well. Good morning, good morning. The cat and dog. There's a ton of cats. Oh, was there a dog out in the yard? There's dogs running out in the yard that belong to our neighbors, and then there's 5 cats who live here that you'll see running around we're inside the cat prison. And the 5 cats' names are Hoot, Juniper Hoot, Juna, Tonka, Grit, and Ginger Rose. It seemed to be a magnet to animals. Oh, yeah, no kidding. Cat Federal. My giant cat, Tonka, I love Juniper too, acts like a dog. He weighs 14 pounds. He's the big orange tabby. I have a little orange tabby and a big orange tabby, and the big one acts like a dog. He's not scared of anything. He's not scared of dogs. He actually likes dogs. He's a little ridiculous. So, for October 12th, those of you who are following along in the giant Course in Miracles book, this one. Today we're in the workbook, part 2, lesson 285. All of our cats came from the street. We took care of a feral cat colony. So one was a kitten, one it was several years old. The little orange tabby was a kitten, but it took me 5 months to get him inside. Feral cats will teach you a lot about... Oh, yeah. Oh, I found my card. This is the website. This is the list of stuff I do. Yeah. Yeah, so the feral cats will teach you a lot. Oh, you're at the vet with your cat or dog. You rescued a dog off the street. Good for you. This is how that dog is waking up. So our section today from the book is, oh, I'm so glad you were there to be his angel, his little doggy angel. This is how his day's going. Today I wake with joy, expecting but the happy things of God to come to me. Oh, I love dogs. I had 4 dogs before this, and now we got the 5 cats. And I mean, the neighbors' dogs sleep on our porch because we put a bed out there for them. And my husband rigged up a heat lamp because it's getting cold now. So now they have a heat source. It's ridiculous, guys. It really is. I'm so glad you didn't take him to the shelter. Oh, I'm so glad. Okay, so the lesson 285, the whole thing is this. Good morning. Hello. My holiness shines bright and clear today. Today I wake with joy, expecting but the happy things of God to come to me. I ask but them to come and realize my invitation will be answered by the thoughts to which it has been sent by me. And I will ask for only joyous things the instant I accept my holiness. For what would be the use of pain to me? There he is. I'm good. How are you doing? What would be the use of pain to me? What purpose would my suffering fulfill? And how would grief and loss avail me if insanity departs from me today and I accept my holiness instead? Yeah. Blocked. Check and done. Father, my holiness is yours. Let me rejoice in it, and through forgiveness be restored to sanity. Your Son is still as you created him. My holiness is part of me and also part of you. And what can alter holiness itself? Yeah, although it's nice to be loved, we don't need troll love. All part of the oneness, though. But we can just block them. Who even cares? The more attention you give them, the worse it gets. So let me read through it again and normalize the language a bit. Although my holiness shines bright and clear today, that doesn't need any translation. And that's just a choice we make. Troll love. No, thank you. No, thank you. Go love someone else. Today I wake with joy, expecting only the happy things of God, only the things related to Source, only the things that match that vibration, match the resonance of Source energy. So my job is, my job is to match myself, to connect with Source and match and resonate. Yes. Somebody's getting an ass kicking. Sometimes they're so loud I think they're really getting hurt, but when I check, they're not. And if you split them up, they just go right back to it. I match myself to Source energy. I make that connection. I strengthen it. I get as strong as I can before I even go out the door. Sometimes before I even get out of bed, because I want everything I encounter throughout the day to be a match to that. And even though I will, ebb and flow and rise and fall, good morning, Rhonda. I want to strengthen my opportunities to see the things. Right. Yeah. Cat love seems to be a little on the violent side. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's like a lot of yodeling going on. All you have to do is ask. I ask but them to come and realize my invitation will be answered by the thoughts to which it has been sent by me. I'll ask, and the thoughts match it. I set a magnetic source and attract the thoughts that match it. And we get to choose what the magnetic source is, the energy source of it all. Whoops. It's crazy here. If you only knew. For what would be the use of pain? I don't think that once we really understand that if we catch ourselves hurting, that we don't have to stay there. Sometimes we stay there out of sheer stubbornness, or we're trying to prove a point or trying to win an argument. Sometimes we'll stay in our victim thinking, we'll stay in our painful place because we're still caught up in trying to be right or trying to win. The sooner you can let go, Xbox fighting. Oh no. The sooner you can drop the need to be right, and the sooner you can drop the competitive need to win, life gets easier. If you get stuck in trying to prove a point, trying to control too much, the more you can let that go. We want attention that we think we aren't getting right, and we haven't learned a different way to get it. Like, we're not particularly skilled at saying, I miss your company and I would like to spend some time with you. Or, good, Roseanne, that's the best thing you can do. The more you let go, the easier it gets. There's some things we have to take charge of and deal with, factual reality things, but most of them, we don't. We stay stuck thinking there's no other way, right? We don't know what to do. No one taught us, right? We didn't have communication skills class. This is what kills me. We have our sex ed and our physical ed classes in high school or middle school these days, some places. But we don't get taught how to communicate. Hi, Jana. Good morning. Although I think they are doing that now, and I know that in Colorado anyway, there's a group called that talks about, I can't remember the name, Project PAVE, and they go around teaching about dating violence and things that how to communicate with your opposite, the opposite sex. But until we learn and until we're willing and able to risk the vulnerability of asking for what we need, we get stuck in some pretty crappy cycles. Yeah, it is great. I love that group. There's several groups in Colorado that go around and talk to middle schools and high schools because it starts in middle school. I mean, sometimes it's starting in 8, 9, 10 years old. It's crazy. So we act out and we argue because some attention's better than no attention, and negative attention may be all we're comfortable with. That sounds like it's getting ugly in there. I can't believe I don't have children and I still get interrupted. You guys, knock it off in there. Oh, hold on. Hey, stop it. Stop it. Jeez. Good Lord. Lunatics. The stress of bringing the 5th cat in has them on edge. So they're actually not normally this wild, but they want the other cat, but she's in isolation in our bedroom. So you can't have her and they're frustrated. They can see her through the window, but that's about it. I was going to say that if you have had shitty relationships or you have not experienced a high level of love, either from other people or practicing connecting to source, and you start to feel it, you can sabotage it because it can be so uncomfortable. It's unfamiliar, and it feels different in your physical body. It can make you feel creepy and itchy and weird, when you start to get an influx of love and you're not used to that. Right feels wrong in the beginning. Actual, true, unconditional love can be overwhelming. That's why a lot of people cry in church a long time ago. But not now, is that what you're saying? We can get it from our connection to Source. With practice, we can sustain that. We can hold it. Source is the only consistent way to get it. I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. Source is our only long-term connection. Your husband taught you? It's okay. Okay. I cried for days when I connected with Source. Yeah. People cry. They cry a lot. It's so overwhelming. It's so fantastic. And if you've never felt fantastic, that feeling of coming home can be very, very intense. And we can't tolerate it very long in the beginning usually. So we'll find a way to screw it up. Yeah, there is somebody happy in the trees out there. It's very calm in our little valley today. Very calm. It's hunting season, which makes me a little nervous. Like, I hope people don't come into the valley to hunt. It's private property, but sometimes they do. Okay. Get your Reiki thing on, and if the replay disappears, let me know. Okay, cool. Thank you for rescuing a dog today. Okay. So be aware of that. There's a book called The Big Leap that talks about that in detail. I used to train people, Love to You, on the happiness threshold concept, where tolerating happiness is difficult in the beginning if you've never felt it, or if you haven't had much of it. Goodbye. Kiss the doggy face for us. When things start going good, we can screw it up. We can pick fights with the people around us. We can have accidents. We can do stupid things. We can make financial mistakes that we normally wouldn't make to make sure that we feel bad again. I had a professor that called it your familiar bad feeling. And it's the feeling that was allowed in your house that was negative, so now it's comfy like a warm blanket. And taking that warm blanket off can be super difficult. So saying, my holiness shines bright and clear today, and tapping into that, hey mom, tapping into that connection and that happiness. Don't be surprised if it makes you cry. Don't be surprised if it's super uncomfortable in the beginning. People cry in church. People cry in front when they meet holy people that are radiating that love. He knows it and is working on it. Would he read The Big Leap? I think it's $10 or something. How are you doing this morning, Mom? After the class. I left her in Loganville last night. She's flying out today. Flying back to Denver. The way to get past that happiness threshold and to stretch it, you're heading to the airport. Say hi to Morgan and the babies for me. Is practice. When you meet someone who's radiating holiness, yeah, it's a quick read. If he'd listen, yeah. Oh, good. Oh, she's back. Cool. You can stretch that happiness out, but with practice. But also, sometimes people can look at pictures of the holy people who radiate holiness and let that trigger those tears of that feeling of coming home and practice that way. I have in the past printed out people I greatly admired and felt that love from, even from looking at their pictures, and just meditated with them to stretch that ability to hold the good stuff. The ability to hold the good stuff is important, because you don't want to, you're making your container for happiness larger. So hard for you to not to be mad as parents, but you know that it won't do you any good. And they did the best they could, unfortunately. I feel that way about my husband's mother, who is a nightmare of a person. Yeah. Yeah, and when I see the things that she did that directly impact him still today, it's a challenge. She's also a big fat liar. That bothers me sometimes. Mystery. It's a mystery. Your mother was a nightmare? Yeah. They are the same person. They really are. They're like doppelgangers of each other. Yeah, she's a horrible person. She did horrible things. Yeah. She can't stand me. She blames me for him being here. She blames me for him standing up to her. She blames me for a lot of stuff. Yeah, she hates me too. She does. I actually haven't seen the woman in years because I just don't tolerate ugly people. I can't handle it. So I just quit going over there. I was like, I understand, and if you need me to go, then I will go. But if you don't care either way, I am not setting foot in that woman's house ever again. And I haven't. He's been very gracious about letting me off the hook on that. So she's someone I have to practice with because she's awful. Hate-filled people do awful things. You know how it says in here, one of the lessons we talked about, hey, Catherine, one of the lessons we talked about, we're talking about horrible mothers-in-law. I think Catherine has a great mother-in-law. Don't you? How people who are hate-filled and do hateful things, those are cries for help. I sometimes like her shoes, though. Oh, gosh. Your father-in-law makes up for it, though. Okay, well, we've all got one. You have to find things that you can like about him, like Tanya said. Sometimes she likes her shoes. I think Sarah Ballard said that too, right? Sarah Ballard had some funny mother-in-law stories. My mother-in-law, I like her. She is a crafter extraordinaire. She's a canner. That's why I thought we'd have so much in common, because I love to craft and do crafty things and can and, shoes, yes. She can make anything. She can sew anything. She's super creative. I'm like, how can you be so creative and hateful at the same time? But that's what I do, is try to find something to like. Their shoes or her ability to create things. And it's sometimes disappointing to me that we can't share that. She and I can't share that, because we could, if you're canning food, it's a hard process, and it's a lot more fun if you have someone to share that with. So I was a little disappointed that, I was just actually a lot disappointed that it turned out that we couldn't create those things together. So, let insanity depart from you today. The insanity of negative thinking, the insanity of thinking that you can control everything, the insanity of mother-in-laws. Yeah, they didn't. Someone who's acting that hate-filled didn't get loved. Yeah. And that's probably better. It's probably better for us not to work with them. Accept your holiness instead. It is weird. It definitely is. Let us rejoice in our holiness and let ourselves be restored to sanity through the practice of forgiveness. Forgiveness of our mean mother-in-laws and what they've done to our husbands. Forgiveness of our husbands as they try to work their way through those things. They're with us for a reason. Forgiveness for the way we wore upon our own selves. Forgiveness for how we are so harsh with ourselves when we're learning and growing, and we can be so rigid and so demanding. Set boundaries. You can love people and set physical boundaries. I'm actually glad you said that. So let's talk real briefly about that. when you feel someone projecting their hatred toward you, and you connect into your heart and your source, and you're radiating love, and you're seeing them as a tantruming toddler, which is what they are, you have love coming out of you toward them. They hate that. They generally will get out of your vicinity. If you have to be in the same room with them, they generally will avoid you if you are truly loving the parts that you can find to love. They'll leave. They can't stand it. Because why? You're resonating love. They are resonating hate. They don't match. So you can't be in the same room together, typically. They will run far and fast. And they won't want to be around you. I'm pretty sure that's why my mother-in-law can't stand me. Partly, it's for, general human reasons. But the other part is that I get so annoyed and mad at her, but I don't let myself stay there. And I do pray for her. I pray for her by adding her to my unconditional love list that's in my head. And she can't stand to be around me. So you keep your guard up in the sense that you are radiating an energy that they can't be in unless they want to. Well, that's okay. Maybe want to set some physical boundaries with that one. It's like you can't, if water's running out of a garden hose, you can't put anything in there. You can't push something into a stream of water because it only goes one direction. So when you connect to source and you're radiating out love, it's like that water hose. There's love coming in and out of you, so nothing can come in. So you don't have to shield or imagine yourself shielded. You can. You absolutely can, and that's very helpful. But if you're being Reiki, or you're being love, or you're radiating positive energy or happiness, you can clear a room quick of people that don't want to come up and meet you there. Do you think they don't like it because they want it and don't know how to have what you have? Yeah, it can be jealousy. It's mostly because it doesn't fit. It's very uncomfortable. If they want it, and they just don't know how, that's when you have people that hover around you. Oh, I'm glad, Chelsea. You have people seeking your company, and you recognize they're not there yet, but if they're staying in your company, they want the help. And the best thing you can do is just radiate. I know I don't remember seeing your name before, but I think I've seen you on the replays. Yes, you're very welcome here. We talk about A Course in Miracles and taking those principles into our daily lives. And we try to soften the hardcore religious language for people who have a trigger in that area. Yes, welcome to our little group. So practical uses are when you feel like you need to defend against someone. Yay! The best scope ever! Oh, thanks, Michelle. Michelle's so nice. You guys are so nice about sharing out. I love that we can share these things out and we never know who's going to find us. Our little island of love. The best defense against people you feel energetically pushing at you is love. It's the most powerful force in the universe. You generate it in yourself. I know, yeah. Sometimes I don't always share. I share when I feel like it's the right time. And you never know when that's going to be. When you think about having to defend yourself, that's a fearful state of mind. when you feel connected to Source and you recognize your own power and you recognize that absolutely no one can harm you, that's a different energy. That's a lovingly offensive energy, an offense, rather than a retreating defense energy. Does that make sense? Like, if I have to shield against you, it's because I'm afraid you're going to hurt me. If I know you don't, you so don't. You so don't. I'm so glad that you recognize that. If I know that you can't hurt me, then I don't feel a need to defend, but I protect myself through physical boundaries if I need that, if a person's truly unsafe or just truly ugly all the time, and I don't want that. I don't have to have it, I don't want it. So you put limits on them. But energetically, I still love my mother-in-law. I still practice loving her in all her ugliness. And she is one of the most challenging people, client or otherwise, that I've ever met. She's like the perfect person to practice on. Find the worst person in your life, the person that they're so awful, and use them as a practice point, a point of practice. And when you can love them and not feel threatened by them, and you can recognize that they have awful behaviors that you choose not to have in your life, but you still can love them, even if that's from a distance, you've got some mastery going on there. And that's not easy, especially when my mother-in-law does something awful. You knew she was up to something. Yeah. Yes. My husband's mother is never mean to my face. She's very polite. She always acts like we're buddies. And I got bit by that routine a couple of times. And then I was like, nope, not again. So you have to set limits, right? So I don't go to her house. I don't spend time with her. I don't go over there. If I'm dropping him off or we're picking something up, I'm polite. But I tell myself before I go over there, that is a 60-something-year-old woman who is really a screaming toddler. So act accordingly. You have a toddler throwing a fit in front of you, what do? You want to smash them sometimes, but you don't, because you love them and you recognize that they're unskilled. They haven't figured life out yet. Toddlers don't know what they're doing. They can't speak the language. Oh no, that's the worst kind of snake. A sneaky. Yeah. My mother-in-law was, and she never said anything to him either. So, but she would do it when neither of us was there. So, yeah, and he better, right? So, screaming, tantruming toddlers. My father-in-law for something he didn't do. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry about that. Passive aggressive. I guess the bottom line is, regardless of who we're dealing with, we do whatever we can to find something we can love about them, not for them, but for us. Because carrying that hatred hurts us. It's like, I had a guy in one of my classes once tell me he equated it to carrying a bag of shit in your pocket. Like, just go take your dog for a walk, pick up a bag of poop, and then stick that poop in your pocket and carry it around all day. And that's, we would never do that. But we do it with hate. It stinks. It's gross. Of course it is, Tanya. We wouldn't carry bags of poo in our pockets. But we'll let ourselves carry pockets of hate, which is so much worse. And letting go of it is as simple as pulling that bag out of your pocket and throwing it away. You may have to pull that bag out and throw it away a dozen times a day till it gets in there. But it is just that simple. The Big Leap. LEAP. When I worked with trauma victims who'd never experienced happiness, I did EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization, repatterning. EMDR is a pretty familiar term. It's used for trauma. It's a therapeutic tool. I often had to work with people to develop a tolerance for happiness. You're welcome. Just like we can tolerate, Rhonda, just like we can tolerate great levels of pain because we're used to it, we can learn to tolerate great levels of happiness. But we have to train for it. That sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? You have to train to be happy, but you do if you're not used to it. Or if you've had a certain level of happiness and you're reaching up and getting more, you've got to kind of ease into it, or you'll wreck it all. When you see people suddenly skyrocket to success and then 2 years later they've dive bombed and they're sitting at bottom or below again, that's what happened. Yes, when you've grown up with that, you have to teach yourself. You have to learn what happiness is. It does make sense knowing someone who feels that way. Yeah. That's why I warn people, when you start daily practice and you're deep diving into spirituality, do not be surprised when pain comes hard and fast, or when you don't allow yourself to experience that fabulous connected feeling to source energy, to spirit, to God. That awesome connection that just moves you to tears, or makes you feel all antsy because you're so filled with gratitude. Give yourself a break and let yourself get used to it. Who's behind me? There's Juniper Hoot. Getting into trouble. Father, my holiness is yours. Let me rejoice in it. Let's rejoice in the gift of that as lost as we can get, that as lonely as we can get, that as angry and misguided and tired as we can get. We still have that holiness inside us. It can never be taken away from us. That's the thing I come back to as my anchor. I can let go of it, and I can drift away from it, but all I have to do is reach out and grab it again. It's right there all the time, without fail, forever and ever and ever. And that restores us to sanity. Our insanity is thinking that we have a lot of control and letting go of it and forgiving everything, including ourselves, starting with ourselves. That's our release. That's our return to sanity. That's our return to love from Marianne Williamson's book. Return to love, return to source, return to God again and again and again and again. That's all I have for today. I'm so glad this is helpful to you peoples, to you lovely peoples. The birds are very happy. They are very happy today. You're welcome. This is up till October 14th. I'll do one more workshop before the end of the year. And then you can always DM me on Twitter, or you can contact me through the website. If you ever have questions, you want more information about coaching or Reiki or Young Living Oils or artwork, whatever, or you just want to email me and ask a question, you're welcome to. You're welcome, Chelsea. Thanks for joining us. And for our regulars who are watching the replay, we love you. Love to everybody here. Love to everybody who's watching after. Enjoy your holiness. Let your holiness shine today. Much love to you. Thanks for the hearts. Thanks for the shares. Thanks for being here and adding your energy. We make the magic together. So, Yay, Love Fest! Love you, hugs, hugs. And for real, I really mean that. I really mean it. You have no idea how full this makes my heart. So, okay. We'll see this afternoon. We're going to talk about Copaiba oil, which is one of the premium starter kit oils that you get with your intro stuff. I mean it. Totally mean it. Yeah, it's become my favorite, Catherine, so I thought we would talk about this one today. This afternoon. This is one that's starting to get carried in my purse all the time because I'm old. Roseanne, email me or DM me on Twitter your address and I'll send you a couple of sample packet things. They're just little bitties. I don't. I try to practice harmony. I can't sing harmony either. I actually don't have that oil. Okay, bye Rhonda. Bye. See you guys this afternoon if you're around or again tomorrow morning for this stuff.